Soulful Sauna, Stories of Self-Mastery. Thank you for joining us. It is you, the viewer, that makes this podcast. Your host, Juliette Noske, and her guests are here to share stories of self-mastery, to inspire you and ignite the power of positive change on your own journey. Thank you for being with us. Welcome to the Soulful Sauna podcast. This is Juliette Noske, your host. And this episode, it's going to be just myself talking with you from the sauna here. And in this episode, we're going to be speaking about mindfulness and mindfulness as a tool on your self-mastery journey. Self-mastery being not a destination, but a journey. Why mindfulness? Well, evidence shows that from a multitude of research projects, mindfulness can seriously improve your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. And creating a regular practice can, in fact, help to reduce physical pain, as well as anxiety and depression. It can also improve your sleep patterns, as well as your relationships and your overall well-being, and so much more. For me, it really helps me to regulate and self-regulate my feelings and my emotions, because I'm a very emotional person. Also, on the flip side, it can also help us to increase positive variables. So things like giving meaning and purpose to our lives, autonomy, as well as the idea of savoring each moment of your life. Now, I know for myself that mindfulness, I have utilized it not just to help my stress or anxiety and things like that, but also to bring more colors into my life and to really enjoy each moment as a precious gift. Maybe you know something about mindfulness. Maybe you've never heard of it before. Who knows? It is quite popular now. And in fact, it was made popular by someone called Jon Kabat-Zinn. So he embraced this word when he created his mindfulness-based stress reduction program. And he was, in fact, an influential part of this move of bringing it from the East into the Western world. And in fact, its history dates back all the way to the Vedic age in the Indian subcontinent. That is over 3,000 years ago. Can you imagine that? And before, it wasn't actually called mindfulness. Back then, the name that was used was, it was derived from the Pali word sati. And this is its meaning, if we try to translate it, because we all know that translations aren't that easy, and sometimes another country, another language has a word that really there aren't the words for it in our own language. But if we try to translate this word sati, it means being aware and being mindful. And so this is where the word mindfulness came from. What mindfulness is not, it's not the undisciplined mind. It's not our usual autopilot, reactionary, non-conscious state of being. And we all know that one, don't we? Where we react without thinking to things, or we're just on autopilot and we're simply doing what we've always done, and we're not really aware and conscious in that moment. What it is, and as Kabat-Zinn says, it's paying attention in a particular way and on purpose in the present moment, as well as non-judgmentally. It is an appreciation for the present moment and for the cultivation of an intimate relationship with this and through a continual attending to it with care and with discernment. And you can find that in John Kabat-Zinn's book. Yes, and so today, what we're going to focus on is that cultivation of the intimate relationship with the present moment that Kabat-Zinn talks about, with a very simple practice. And this practice I like to call training the monkey mind. And within this episode, we will also be addressing one of the 9 principles of mindfulness, and that's the one that's called a beginner's mind. The Greek philosopher Epictetus, he is quoted as saying that, "For it is impossible for anyone to begin to learn that which he thinks he already knows." And Epictetus was speaking about the beginner's mind in very much of a simple way. Because if we think that we know everything already, then why would we be open to learning anything else? And I'm going to be coming back to that in a short while with a little story to tell you. But before we do, I would love to invite you into a short practice of mindfulness. And for this practice, I'm going to invite the mighty mindful monkey to be with me. So if you are listening to the podcast on Spotify or somewhere, then you're going to need to use your imagination to imagine the mighty mindful monkey. If you're on YouTube, then hi, you can see my little friend. So the mindful monkey, the mighty mindful monkey is well, one of my meditation teachers said that the mind is like a monkey that's in the jungle, and it's been stung by a wasp, and it's running around and around and around in the jungle, screaming and shouting this way and that way and everywhere and all over the place. And often when clients come to me for mindfulness or meditation, they immediately tell me, oh, I can't meditate. No, I can't meditate. I have far too many thoughts. And I say, welcome, join the club. Because we all do. And part of the practice here is the training of the monkey, so that we can allow ourselves to develop this intimate relationship and cultivate this intimate relationship with the present moment. What the monkey mind tends to do is drag us into the future and worry about what's happening or what might happen, or what we've got to do, or all the different possibilities of the terrible things that might happen, or going back into the past and thinking about all those things that have happened and all those people that we've spoken to, arguments we've had, or things we shouldn't have done, or things we want to change, or whatever it is. And so the mindfulness monkey has us here, there, and everywhere, in the past and in the future. And that means it's very hard in that state of mind for us to cultivate the intimate relationship with the present moment. So in order to do that, we need to train the monkey mind, the chattering monkey mind. And for this, I'm going to ask you, what do monkeys like? Well, I'm going to tell you, maybe you've guessed, monkeys like bananas. That's right. And so we're going to offer the monkey in this practice a banana, and the banana being the breath. So you can do this practice wherever you are, whatever you're doing, as long as you're not driving, obviously. You're not going to close your eyes if you're driving. But you can do this practice wherever, whenever, because we always have the breath with us. So if it's throughout your day, when you're at the office, when you're with the family, when you pop to the ladies or the gents, or wherever it is, you'll be able to do this practice. And the practice goes like this. Simply observe the breath. And begin by observing the breath and letting the body breathe naturally. And just being there for a moment. You're welcome to close your eyes if you like. One of the reasons that we do this is because of all the stimuli when we have our eyes open. But you're also welcome to keep them open or just look down towards the ground. And as you let the body breathe naturally, bringing your focus and your awareness onto the breath. And then observe when the thought arises, rather than resisting or getting upset that this thought is arising, allow the thought to arise and imagine it like a train going by. You're stood on the platform and you simply observe the train, the thought passing by. And once you've done that, you bring your attention back to the breath. And once again, when the thought arises, as it will, observe the thought passing by like the train on the platform. And rather than stepping on the train and following the thought on the train of thoughts, simply staying on the platform, observing the thought pass by, and shifting the attention and focus back to the breath. Continuing this practice, observing the breath. When thought arises, allow it to pass by as you witness it and shift the attention back to the breath. As we train the monkey mind, following the simple steps, observe the thought, witness the thought, bring the monkey mind back to the banana, the breath. Observe the thought, witness the thought, bring the attention back to the banana, the breath. And then slowly, gently wiggling your toes and your fingers, stretching out your arms, take a big stretch and a yawn. Fantastic. And this is a practice that you can do for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Begin small and simple and slowly build it up over time. And using this technique, you will find that more and more, as you observe the thoughts, you become less attracted to following them off on the train. And at the same time, with that beginner's mind, you want to come to each practice anew, afresh, without the expectation of being better than your time before, for example. And on that note, I'm going to speak a little bit about the beginner's mind. So, the beginner's mind is a mind where you allow yourself to be the beginner rather than thinking that you have to be the expert. And in order to share this with you, I have a little story to tell. And the invitation here is to be open and curious in each moment. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner of mindfulness or you have just literally started your journey, the beginner's mind will allow you to continue to learn and grow in each moment. So here's a little story. A long, long time ago, there lived a wise Zen master. And people came from far and wide to seek him out for his wisdom and for his wise counsel. Many, many people would ask him to teach them the way of the Zen, and he seldom turned them away. One day, a very, very important man who commanded people's attention and obedience came to visit the Zen master. I have come to you so that you can teach me about Zen and open my mind to enlightenment, said the man. The tone of the man's voice sounded like someone used to getting his own way. The Zen master suggested that they should discuss this over a cup of tea. When the tea arrived, the Zen master began pouring his visitor a cup of tea. He poured and he poured and he poured, and the tea eventually reached the rim of the cup, and he poured and he poured, and the tea began to spill over the edges of the cup and across the table and all over the man's clothes. The important man was very upset about this, and finally he shouted, "Enough! Stop! You're getting it all over my clothes. Can't you see? The cup is full." The master stopped pouring and smiled at his guest. And then he said, "You are like this teacup, so full that nothing more can be added. Come back to me with an empty cup. Come back to me with an empty mind." And so it is that when our mind is so full and we think that we know everything, there is no room left for learning and growth and development. For me personally, A life without learning and growth and development is a life of stuckness, of stillness, of without movement. And for me, this story really speaks to the beginner's mind, and how if we are overflowing, there is literally no room left for us. And so the invitation for each of you out there is to step into this beginner's mindset. As in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, and in the experts, there are few. When we come to our practice of mindfulness or meditation daily with a beginner's mind, our mind is empty and open to whatever our practice may bring to us, or wherever our practice may take us, without the expectations of how our practice should go. We can also be in a state of wonder and curiosity, and a sense of playfulness, and really being playful with the present moment. Surprisingly, a beginner's mindset may actually help you to become more of an expert as you stay open, and you're open to that continued learning and seeing things with fresh and new eyes. For the end of this episode, I would like to share a short practice with you that I have created so that you can utilize this either in the morning, the evening, or throughout your day. The invitation is to practice this when you're in a good state, when you're in a neutral state, so that when you have those challenging moments, you can call upon it as a resource on your self-mastery journey. And this is a moment by moment self-regulation practice. And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. It's literally called the 3 Ps: pause, presence, and patience. The first step is pause, coming into a moment of stillness and silence, taking 3 deep breaths, slow and relaxed. The next step is presence. The pausing brings you into the present moment, inviting you into a state of presence so that you can cultivate your intimate relationship with the present moment, where you can observe the now, where you can observe what is in this moment now. And maybe if you're having a challenging moment, simply naming what is can actually help us to dissolve its intensity. So getting it out of our head and verbally naming it and listing it, for example, or writing it down and speaking it out. The third step is patience. Patience is about remaining calm. And the invitation here is to be still, or possibly to move slowly into your day or into your next activity or task that you're going to be doing with a new enlivened sense of awareness. And as I said, this can be used as a daily practice or as a practice to support challenging moments. And we're going to have a go at it now. So I would like you to imagine that you have just woken out of bed, woken up, and you're you've just woken up in the morning, and maybe you have, and you just got out of bed, or you're sat in the bed, or maybe you're sat on the edge of bed or on a chair next to the bed. And you come into the first P, pause, allowing yourself to be in a moment of stillness and silence. Here, the invitation is to possibly close your eyes and taking 3 deep, slow, and relaxed breaths. As you do this, allowing the stillness and silence to settle within you and around you. The second step is presence. Taking 3 deep breaths again, or inviting the 3 breaths you've already taken to bring you into the present moment, cultivating a state of presence and your intimate relationship with this present moment. If you're neutral or in a good state, simply observing where you are right now, observing what is in this moment. If you're having a challenging moment, observing what is right now, in the now, and nothing else, and possibly naming what is right now, or writing it down and then speaking it out. And then moving into the third step, patience. Being with what is right now in this moment and becoming the observer of that and remaining calm, with the invitation to continue to be still for a moment, or at least to move slowly into your day or to your next activity, whatever that may be, with a renewed sense of awareness. I hope you enjoyed that practice, and if you would like to send me a message and tell me how you get along with that, I would love to hear. One of the things that is very rewarding when you are any kind of practitioner, therapist, coach who works with people is to get feedback from them and to hear how they're getting along with the exercises or the work that you've been doing with them. It really does concretize, if that's a word, solidify that the exercises are working and helping and benefiting just as I would like it to. So that's it from the Soulful Sauna Stories of Self-Mastery today. I hope you've enjoyed this session. I will be speaking more on mindfulness and sharing more of the principles of mindfulness with you, as well as other practices that you can do to continue practicing for yourself. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again soon, or hearing you. Thank you to Matt and Ken at Thermalux UK for offering their saunas as a space for me to record my podcast in. Soulful Saunas, Stories of Self-Mastery.